Hello, everybody. Look at my good friend Victor. Hello, Victor. How are you today?
Hi, Adele.
Welcome to our Running Your Best Life podcast. And guess what? I get to do the introduction today. Guess why? Because we're going to talk about Victor and some of the things he's doing to find success in his training, nutrition, and really just in the things he's doing with his life right now. But the biggest thing I want to say from the very beginning when we left y'all last week, my good friend Victor had on his Seattle Seahawks knit cap. So congratulations to your hometown team, the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah,
They are now Super Bowl champions. Before we came on the air, we were chatting about that. I'm a big football fan, as you know. So I'm going to offer something from my Saints. My wonderful quarterback for the Saints, Drew Brees, was selected on first ballot to the Hall of Fame, which I reminded Victor, I had a little something to share and celebrate as well. But yay, Seahawks, go Seahawks!
yay. Awesome.
Well,
Yes, I'm
I,
so about
I
that.
want, but I want to say congratulations. But that also leads us into our topic today. And Victor, you want to take it from there, and then we'll get started.
Absolutely. I wanted to talk about what's going on with me and my racing, my nutrition, and everything that's going on well, because I think a lot of our listeners can benefit from the
Hmm.
things that are working well for me, because I was plateauing as far as my performance in running and triathlons.
Hmm.
I
Right.
went a few years where when I was younger, I was qualifying. I had the qualifying times for Boston almost at every race. I did
Right.
one back to back. Almost every race, I was able to qualify for the Boston Marathon, and then it happened very sudden. All of a sudden, it was like a 4 hour marathoner, and I need 3:30. And
Right.
it's like, oh yeah, I'm having a bad day. I had a bad day. I just thought, but pretty soon most of my marathons were way off the qualifying times.
Right.
I gained about 12 pounds, and it hasn't been till lately that I've worked on the nutrition much better.
Mhm.
I've worked on a few things. I went back to focusing on the things that I was focusing back then, like my cadence counting.
Okay.
Since I've written the book, I've also made focus, and then we've been talking about it. So when every run I go, I make sure I apply everything that I've written on my book for uh, my efficiency
Right.
in running. So I decided I am going to try to qualify for Boston again in July, actually late June. It's the Missoula Marathon.
Right. 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 You got a few months before that, so you're really working on these other issues. But when you say late June, it's still where is it being held? Missoula,
Missoula, Montana.
Montana. Right, Montana. That's what I thought.
It's
Okay.
usually at the beginning of July, but this year I think it's the last week of June.
What, so let me ask you before we get into a little bit of the training changes and improvements and also the development that you have right now. Is the weather in Montana at that point in time, is it still cool?
No, it is hot.
Okay.
However, it usually doesn't get hot at night in
Okay.
the Pacific Northwest.
Okay.
And so the nice thing about this race is that it's at 6 in the morning,
Okay. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
which our time here in Spokane, Washington, Pacific time, and they're in Mountain time.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's 1 hour before. So it's actually at 5 in the morning, our time,
Your time, right.
to start the race. Uh,
Right.
so 5, 6, 7. If I'm done by 7:30, closer to 8 in the morning, it's still
Mhm.
pretty nice.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the best thing to do with marathon running because, as we all know, I run down in South Louisiana, and I mean it might be 99 degrees with 300% humidity at 5 a.m. one morning at that time of year. But if I would go to California, like I did for the San Francisco Marathon in 1998, it started at 32 degrees on the other side of the Golden Gate Bridge. Now the temperature rose, but for me, when you run in the conditions we run in, all of a sudden you can run all day when it's cool, whether it's hilly or not, doesn't matter as much as the temperature and the climate control. Is it damp? Is it going to be very, very humid? How are you going to prepare your nutrition? How are you going to prepare your hydration? But when you have cool early starts, by the time the sun's up,
Yeah.
You're almost halfway through the marathon distance because of running in the pre-dawn, early morning dawn hours, which is going to be great for you. So let's look at how you've changed some of the things over the last couple of months. And I'm going to go back to when you had the bicycle accident, and we talked about this just recently on some of the things you changed as you were healing, that you didn't want to gain weight, you changed some nutrition. But post that race in September, you really dialed into new things in your training plan, like no real gimmicks, no real drastic changes as a lot of athletes will do. You basically looked at some tools. Obviously, Crystal has been a complete coach in this respect nutritionally. She's also been a really great accountability partner in how you're dealing with this and how you're learning things. But it's almost a reinvention of your training in nutrition, hydration, your different patterns now that you're using. Explain a little bit on some of the things that we should emphasize as we bring these ideas to our listeners today.
Yes. So in the past, I would always be careful, like when I was training, that I cut back on sugar, I cut back
Mm-hmm.
on some of the junk food. But this time it's been more drastic. Like I just followed Crystal's diet at first, and then I
Okay.
let her kind of dictate because she does it a little bit different for me. And the only thing different that I do that uh, she, um, she does for me is that the quantities, because
Right.
to work out at a little higher intensity than she does. Plus, our bodies are different, so we
Mm-hmm.
so just the quantity pretty much is the difference. She
Okay.
loads up in a little more calories
For
on the
you. Right.
yeah on
Mhm.
the macro. So and it's very specific because I bought the wrong tuna the other day and I got scolded big.
So let's describe that, okay? And I'm gonna be intentional in these questions. When you buy something wrong in the eyes of your nutritionist, and let me interject something here for y'all. Crystal and Victor are truly partners. They're sharing life together, but the accountability to each other to live well, love well, develop their goals well. They're truly giving each other the support and the accountability that they truly want from each other. One, Victor is coaching Crystal to achieve this incredible goal of her first half Ironman, which is coming up in a few months as well. But also, Crystal is giving Victor these new tools in achieving a goal that now he can set for himself, which is to qualify for Boston again in another decade where the qualifying times and are specifically different, but also his training is specifically different with the knowledge and the nutrition base that she has with the things that she's experienced. So let's take that another level. When he says he bought the wrong tuna, his nutritionist slash client slash coach is going to tell him what to buy. And if he doesn't do it, she's got an issue with it. So explain that to us, please.
So basically, I went to this one store. I'm not gonna name which store because she told me go to this one, but I went to another one and thought, I'll just get it from there because I had
Mhm.
the picture. So I showed it to the lady at the store. Said I need this tuna, and she's like, "Oh no, but I have the best thing next to that. And
Mm.
it's like this, and
Mhm.
it's like that. That is a good choice." And she prefers them. So I thought, you know what? Tuna is tuna. And she's saying it's still organic. I can't go wrong. It comes in little packets. I bought like 7 packets, and then when she found them, she was like, "What? This is not the tuna they told you." And she went back to, but basically, she has it dialed in the
Right.
macros and how much she already calculated how many calories I'm going to take. And because this tuna has quite a few things different, it's not going to be the same. But her point was well taken that if
Right.
he has it all calculated, that don't change it.
Right. Well, and let's go ahead and verify that for our listeners. I know I shared with y'all that I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. If you've heard Crystal, if you've seen our episodes with Crystal, she is coming from a crazy medically crazy history, medical history, which
Yeah,
she had
metabolic
to,
disease.
yeah, the
Yeah.
lipedema and the, yeah. So the biggest thing that she did for herself was get educated and change her nutrition, her activity, and that which led her to Victor to help her with her goal. But the key for y'all is this. My my situation is very, very different and maybe simplistic compared to what Crystal came from. What Victor is doing is basically improving his fueling, his which is hydration, his nutrition to achieve a fitness goal, which is his Boston qualifying time. The biggest thing to take away from all of this, which are three completely different stories on nutrition, is dial it in and don't change what works unless you have to. And the only reason you would have to would be increasing the quantity. For Victor needs something different than what Crystal or myself needs. Changing what works for you. I'm 20 years older than Crystal. So something she would suggest to me might not work for me because my body has changed 20 years more, despite the fact of being an endurance athlete. So the thing you have to realize is when you find that it works, don't change it. Don't change it. It's like changing your pair of shoes. If you put on a different pair of shoes to go run another marathon and it doesn't work and you leave, you're going to be really mad at yourself. So dial it in as Victor is suggesting to you and learn from the people who have been there before. Crystal's been there, Victor's been there, I've been there, and we're all living it presently. Learn from the people who are giving you the right information and the best information to apply to your own unique situation. Especially if you have a partner that helps you stay accountable and makes it easy for you to be disciplined in how you take care of yourself. You don't have to be an endurance athlete to learn what works best for you so that you have longevity and good health, right? I mean, that's the whole deal.
And the variables don't change too much. The main concepts, for example, the amount of protein,
Mhm.
it's pretty dialed in. The amount of all the macros are she has them pretty well calculated.
Okay.
So now, for me or for our clients, it's just a matter of also knowing what works best for them because they may
Okay.
have an allergy to one thing or
Right.
another. So it's
Right.
working with the recipes. Okay, you can't have cauliflower. Okay, then let's substitute for something else, and that's where she comes
Right.
in with really good
Right.
recipes that the client is still going to eat and be okay with it.
Well, and enjoy it. It's not going to be like when you use the word diet, and I don't use the word diet, and I don't think Crystal is one that says diet unless she's using it to describe how she's teaching you how to eat properly for your own specific needs and specific goals. Diet is something that used to have, oh, I'm on a diet. You're not on a diet, you're on a lifestyle.
It's a negative connotation.
Right, a negative connotation. So if you use the word diet, you might be look at it different from a different perspective. I'm following a diet plan that works for me nutritionally, right?
That's
This
correct.
is how I should eat. So what Victor's doing right now, and we're going to get back to how these changes have affected him. I think you've had a little bit of like 10-pound weight loss, which obviously is helping you speed, endurance, recovery, and all that. Describe that a little bit on how that's changed for you too.
Yes. So basically, when I went in the diet or nutrition plan,
Right, right.
that thing
Caught him. I caught him, y'all.
is, I noticed that I felt much better. I
Hmm.
dropped those 10 pounds pretty quick,
Hmm.
and I'm at the ideal race weight, maybe
Okay, good,
give or take
good.
1 pound or two, but feel very strong, very good. So the last race that I did, a half marathon in Sarasota, which was
Right.
the last minute, I was able to do a 1:43, which is one of my best times in like 5 years. So I'm like, okay, and something is working really well. And I also noticed that I'm recovering pretty quick with
Okay.
that I'm not sore. I am getting good sleep. Everything's working really well. Mm, so those are the things, and so we're sticking to this nutritional plan. And
Good.
that's when I also thought, okay, then if I'm making this progress, then I'm going to try to qualify for Boston again,
Hmm.
my best. And since I published my book on the rhythm running book, and I'm following that plan again and kind of promoting all my methodologies in
Right,
counting
right,
my cadence, I want to combine all that, the nutrition that I'm going, the cadence counting, and see if I can get back to um, uh, doing some elite running and
right,
see how it affects the performance along with the longevity and everything else. Because we're go. I always preach that there's a difference between performance and longevity. It doesn't
right,
always equate the same thing.
right,
Just because you perform well doesn't mean that you're doing a healthy thing.
right,
As
right,
everyone who's done steroids and all that kind of stuff. Or sometimes when you get too stubborn on a result,
right,
you tend to make shortcuts to
right,
like going super light. I don't want to be super light. I don't want to lose muscle. I want to be at the ideal weight that I am comfortable, that I still maintain my muscle because I want to maintain that muscle through my 80s and 90s. So
right. And we've talked about longevity in the past, y'all. If you want to look up that episode, we did talk about several things regarding that. But the biggest thing about what Victor is explaining to all of us, and he's enlightening me a little bit too, as we've talked earlier before recording, is the longevity factor at the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and into your 70s and 80s. Doing what you do now with any kind of nutrition or fitness plan, regardless of being an athlete, you're taking care of what you've been given. You're taking care of everything that you can use within your physical system, mental, emotional, spiritual. When you feel good physically, when you're doing things and putting the really good things into your body, it's fueling your mind, it's fueling your heart, and it's fueling your spirit. And one of the things, and I think Krista will probably back both of us up on this because she's got so much nutrition expertise, is the protein that you take also helps fuel and create brain functioning to be effective. As we age, and I know Crystal and Victor are 20 and 10 years younger than I am, but the key is the longevity factor of brain health is imperative to taking care of the body as well. You don't have to be an Ironman athlete or someone recovering from, heart disease to understand that just keep your body fueled properly so that your brain will continue to function many, many years into your future. You enjoy your children, you enjoy your grandchildren, your great grandchildren. You want to have the memory there. You want to have the ability to communicate. This is all paramount to what we're doing as athletes. It also transcends into just basic lifestyle and longevity concepts. So one of the things I want to mention is Victor brought this up. For him to qualify for Boston now, his time um the time that's required is different than when he did it, many years ago because of the age factor. They look at the age factor, they change it accordingly because what they're looking at is not someone like Victor who has now dropped times. They're looking at people who have continued to run for 10, 15, 20 years, continuing to qualify for Boston. They give you some time differences as you age. You have a little bit more time to qualify. Let's say you need a 330, but when you're 10 years older, you need a 340. That takes a lot of discipline, y'all. A lot of discipline over a long period of time. And the discipline of the fitness part of running those kind of times transcends and becomes better because you're taking care of your body nutritionally and everything that goes along with that. So, with that 10-pound difference, as Victor just says, it's not just the weight change that causes him to run what I call efficiently, but economically. He's using his cadence, he's using his hydration, and he's using the fuel that he's getting from good nutrition. So let's look at that a little bit more because when you look at that and you adjust to it, what would be the ultimate reward for Victor? And I'm going to let him tell you. The ultimate reward would be hello.
qualifying for Boston.
Yes, in June.
And
And I want to say something too with him. looking at all of these different things, you got to realize too that he's putting the right parts of his lifestyle together as well. He's having a lot of fun doing some of the social things with the, I'm assuming, Team Blaze. Y'all are still training pretty consistently with Team Blaze. Crystal's involved with that as well, but she's also helping them market the team, which is also helping her on the other part in her lifestyle as well. The biggest thing is the accountability factor, but tell me a little bit more about what you are looking at for the next couple of months from this point, because you've changed some things that have been very, very beneficial, very successful. What would be your next plan of action as you go a little bit closer to that late June, early July qualifying race?
Well, I'm balancing between
Okay.
coaching my clients, coaching Crystal. So I'm doing a lot
Hmm.
of things that taking it time doing the periodic um, training. So
Okay.
we usually do about 3 weeks of hard workouts, and then we have an easy week.
So, like a taper week, would you call it?
I
Some
don't
in a
know, I
way?
wouldn't necessarily call it taper work, just a little
Okay.
bit easier than the other 3 weeks because
Okay.
you build, and then you take one that's not so. You work really hard for 3 weeks, and then an
Okay.
easier week, and then another 3 weeks, and that way, it gives you a little bit of more recovery for your
Okay.
body. Mm,
Okay.
I'm going to continue to focus on the cadence counting, and also I would say the next thing is we are getting ready for a triathlon. Well, we're going to have a few races in between.
Right.
So,
Right. Right.
one of the things that I'm going to do, March 15 will be another local race, which is
Okay.
um, Shamrock. And
Is that just a running race or is that a
yeah,
triathlon
that's just
type
a
event?
road race.
Okay, road race. Okay.
Race, it's a half marathon, and I'm going to shoot for 1 minute 40 seconds, which would be shaving 3 minutes off
Okay.
my
What
best time. Sorry.
what 1 hour 40 1 hour 40 minutes? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. That's a lofty goal. 3 minutes
Yeah,
is a tremendous difference.
yeah, it's a big difference. I feel like it's very possible, but that would give me what I need. Then I could say, yes, I definitely can qualify for
Okay.
Boston. If I can get this time, I can definitely do it in Missoula.
Okay.
So
And that'll
that's
give you, yeah, that's a couple of months prior to the actual qualifying race.
yes.
So
Mhm.
my question on that is if you maintain what you're doing with your nutrition, you're obviously you're training, the fitness part of the training, the physical part of the training, you just addressed something that you use in your training program, which is three, when you use the word harder weeks and one recovery type, less intense, less high intensity. Not that you're not working out, not that you're not putting some time into the fitness and the stability of your training program. But what you're doing is you're allowing what I call rest and recovery time. Explain that a little bit as going forward. Will you require a little bit more of that on those less intense weeks to let your body recover because you're pushing that much harder in those 2 to 3 weeks leading up to the races you're doing?
Yeah, and that's going to be a little bit different for everyone. The way
Okay,
I work out, I definitely need a easy week because I go pretty intense on the three
okay,
weeks. But
yeah.
my body has been used to the intensity. If somebody is more of a gradual
Mhm,
uh,
mhm.
increasing and adapting to the long workouts,
Okay,
then
okay,
their easy week is going to be a little different.
okay,
And
okay,
so, yeah, everybody has a little bit of a difference. And you mentioned working out. Since I'm training Crystal for her triathlon and I'm also working with the Team Blaze triathlons.
mhm.
I use that as my cross training.
Good,
Even
good.
though I have a running goal, I'm also a triathlete, but I
Right,
think it's essential for running a healthy life and running healthy in general because
right,
you're
right.
working other muscles. When I used to focus on purely running,
Mhm.
It was so easy to get hurt. You have to incorporate a lot of strength training, a lot of other stuff,
Right.
but you can make it fun because that's going to be probably the other I feel is essential for my clients and for anybody else who wants to make this a long-term lifestyle. You have to find fun in what you do, or
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. Fun, but also the enjoyment of the connection with the people you're doing it with. You don't always want to do single workouts where you have headphones on and you're not communicating, because I think the energy also comes from partners in running and swimming and cycling and just the social contact. I mean, it really energizes you beyond going out there and lacing up your shoes or putting on your swim cap and goggles. You get that camaraderie, and all of a sudden that energy just transcends into the actual part of the exercise.
yeah,
And you know, I want to bring something to our listeners awareness, if you don't mind. We've talked about a lot of different things, and we've mentioned the nutrition changes that Victor has made. Remember, he is Coach Victor, right? He is Coach Victor. But one of the things he's allowed himself to do through these last several months is be coached himself. Right, he had the injury on the bike, getting ready for the half Ironman that he was very, very successful in, because he took the right approach to the rest and recovery he needed to recover from that injury, and put it into some knowledge based activities, right? He read a little bit, he learned from Crystal some new things to do, as his body was not going to be pushed for several weeks like it had been pushed in his training program to get ready for that Ironman. Remember that it's wonderful to be coachable as well. We have great knowledge and we have great experience that we can allow ourselves to share with others. But when we need to be coached, we need to be good acceptors of information. Receive it, learn it, adapt it. And one of the things that Victor is talking about in what he's learning in is like nutrition, he's transcending that into the clients that he has that he's coaching. So y'all understand that these all these concepts we learn as we go as well. And I think these last 6 months have been a really true learning experience for you, right, Victor? And look where it's
absolutely.
brought you now. Look where it's brought you.
Yeah, yeah, and I think about it in a way of I used to get away with a lot of shortcuts. And as I get older, these shortcuts, you pay a high price.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
consumption of alcohol or junk food, when before it's like, oh, yeah, I can afford a cheat day here, a cheat day there. Well, as you get older, uh, it also costs you, I think, part of the motivation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Can
Mm-hmm.
find an approach that's holistic, that improves all areas of your life,
Right,
then
right,
you're going to perform a little better. You're going to be more happy, and
right,
you're going to carry that along through the rest of your life rather than just from now till the Missoula Marathon or just till
right,
the finish line.
right.
And I love that. I think that's
Well, I'm going to share something with you. Y'all know that king cake's my favorite thing. One of my favorite things. Pizza and ice cream are obviously the ultimate. With the celiac and gluten, I can't eat the king cake. So when I've done these races or these events, post that diagnosis in April, I haven't had a piece of king cake. I've tasted a small piece of king cake. Y'all, this is a tremendous lifestyle change for me. I mean, dramatic, because, and I've learned with my, as I age a little bit too, metabolism and all that, I do a lot of new things nutritionally to keep my metabolism strong, that it doesn't just, age with me, because I'm not one who's aging. But the key is that, as Victor has learned, because he has some goals, I have reset goals for myself in the last, 2 months going into 2026. I think y'all know that. I've shared that with Victor. I am now on a little bit more specific plan before my Crescent City Classic. I'm doing some things differently like I used to do when I was training consistently through the year for tennis, running, and everything else. All my supplemental exercises, nutritionally, I've had to change things. My body is still changing, and that's where the knowledge that Victor has learned from Crystal and also applied to his own lifestyle and training programs for his goals. I'm still learning a lot of that. I've found things that reset. My body's still not where I want it to be. Now, I'm 10 months into the diagnosis, but truly only 5 to 6 weeks of finding things that are working consistently better for me. Right? And I know it's hard to say that because I was always so intentional, but there were things I was doing the first 6 to 7, 8 months of this new diagnosis that I had to learn. Does that work for me? I thought it would, but it doesn't. And then I'm really struggling through a few days or maybe a couple of weeks of reigniting the things that I'm learning. And I'm at a good little spot right now, but I'm still working. My body still has to lose a little bit of the extra weight that it carries. It's about 5 pounds. I'm not happy with it as I'm training differently and like I used to train, excuse me, more specifically. But also what I'm doing is I'm applying the knowledge that I need with my specific situation, which is what Victor did, which is what Crystal did over these last many years of her life to get where she is now. And we keep going back to what Crystal has taught the two of us. I need to learn a little bit more from her now that I've learned some things that have worked. Some of the things she's done that has helped Victor. And I'm at that stage now to communicate with her in my specific needs because I've found things that are helping my processing, which is the autoimmune celiac and gluten. There's a lot of processing issues. So I'm finding things that have helped, and I'm so proud I have. Now, it's time to take the next step, right?
Yeah.
Look at some of the things I'm doing, like the Crystal and Victor have just have shared with us, because now there's another knowledge that I need. How do I apply this? I found something that works. What's my next step to work a little bit closer, to intentionally be a little bit stronger where I want to be? It's a process, y'all. It's a definite process. Go out and talk to the coaches or the nutritionists or the teachers or the people who have been there before. Experience speaks volumes. And now I've availed myself to new experiences from people and new knowledge from people who have lived with some of the issues that I'm just learning about. Right?
Yeah. And one of the things that you touched is like learning what you need to eat and what we learned from Crystal. But one of the key differences in what Crystal brings is that she has a lot of experience in making recipes for years
Right.
that, because she had a delivery service that she was starting back
Mm, right. Right.
2020 where she had a lot of recipes and she knew exactly how many calories each in and how many macros of protein to
Right.
carbohydrates and
Right.
the
Right.
ratios that now that she's starting to do the same kind of coaching again, it's easy to do uh, meal preps.
Right.
I
Right.
think that it's very essential. That's where I think a lot of people break their nutritional habits
Mhm.
because of convenience.
Right. Right.
Hey,
Right. Right.
you work late, you didn't wake up and had everything ready, so you went to work late. Now you didn't take a lunch. You're gonna eat at McDonald's. You're gonna
Right.
eat whatever's ready,
Right.
or um, same thing with families who are busy.
Mhm.
You're running late. Pick something up. Let's just pick up a pizza because no one wants to cook, and there goes the nutrition
Yeah.
element.
Yeah. And there's ways to combat those moments of busyness or sudden things that come into to play. Always keep things. If you make one or two of things, make three or four. That
Yeah,
way, if it's in your freezer or fridge, you just have to pull it out. Or if you buy 10 apples, buy 12. You never know when you're going to run out, and the kids need it for school. That kind of thing. Go a little bit extra because then you're better prepared. It's like taking your running shoes and forgetting your socks. Well, I need socks. Well, I don't have them. I'm going to run barefoot. I'm going to have blisters. I don't make it to my next race. But it's the same it's the same concept. So always depend on the people that went before you, that they can teach you a little bit of something that you can apply to your own unique situation. So
yeah.
Victor, I know there's a couple of other things you wanted to share today, but I do have to tell you one thing. Y'all, we've been talking a little bit about the Cadence book. Don't forget that you can still get it on Amazon, correct? For the 99 cents? Okay.
I'm not sure about the 99 cents, but
Okay.
not that much more because I think it goes up depending on how many books are being sold.
Okay, good.
You
Good.
don't pay
Okay.
99 cents, you still like a dollar 50. Under $2 for sure.
Right. So definitely go do that because I have been following the copy that Victor sent me. It's been on my email since before we started talking about it, so I could learn a little bit more about what he was suggesting and what he was proficient at that he was offering to his readers. So I am now counting much better my cadence. I never really was that disciplined or that consistent in it before, even in my hardcore years of training, because it wasn't introduced to me, right? I
That's
did interval training, I did time training, I did all these other things. I did the one, two, three levels of where my fitness is, what my times were, my strides, the whole bit. But the biggest thing you have to remember is this: learn something new. I've been learning over the last month the cadence counting. I'm using it in my freestyle strokes and my backstroke strokes as well because I always turn to the left, so I count so many. Today was an intentional swim on 100 free splits, right? Not so much for time, but to learn the cadence. And y'all, I swam 2 miles this morning, right? That was with my warm up and cool down. But also, too, those 100-yard splits were intentionally done with cadence counting on the left arm, right?
yes.
Yesterday I cycled. When I cycled the 5 miles alone after riding 12 with the guys, I was going for intervals. I'm counting the rotation of my left foot, right? I know Victor has said count one. I'm left-handed, y'all. I always go to the left. But the other part of the run walk method that I use, that we've addressed it with the kid. I'm using now that this is the knowledge that I'm just getting. Yo, I'm 68 years old. I can still learn stuff. Look what I'm learning from my partners so that when I'm using these training plans, I'm looking for some success when I get to April. My goal now is to have that April 4th race where now I'm 2 months out, March and April now, end February into March and early April, where nutritionally I'd like to have some improvements, right? With what I've had to learn and apply because of the diagnosis with the autoimmune disease. Y'all, it's changed everything for me in very good ways, but yet the status quo for me is still there, right? It's still there. So remember that you can learn every day something
Yeah. Yeah, and have your motivation reason for whether it's hopefully it's for the long run, but in the
new.
short run you can have little goals like
Hmm.
you're
Hmm.
going to perform better at your next 5K, you are going to be able to be healthy for your grandchildren. You know, you
Hmm.
stack up your reasons why, and this cadence counting is, I want people to think about it as a method of your ability to focus. So
Right.
because it's
Right.
so right in the moment that you're
Hmm.
the action, kind of like you're breathing. And one of the things you're going to do very often is when you're running, of course, you're taking steps. When you're breathing, you're taking in air and you're consuming the air. And this is one of the most important things that we can do is how and how much air, which we don't think about because we just think about it as automatic and
Right.
we're not intentional about it, but we can start to do that. And if you have your reasons why, then it's much better. For example, with me and nutrition is I do ask myself, why didn't I do this before? Why wasn't I as disciplined about nutrition before? And it was just not in the I didn't value it as much as I do now.
Hmm.
Didn't have the focus. So even though when I thought, oh, I'm gonna eat healthier, but I didn't invest the time and everything. I was more valuing convenience.
Right.
As long as it says healthy, then I'm okay. You know, I just don't want to do really bad eating, but I wasn't focused on like, here's the things I can do, here's what I can, uh, and basically that telling myself this is not an area to take shortcuts. This is not
Right.
an area to value convenience over the benefits of nutrition because that's what's going to be for everything, for whatever you do. If you're putting the right nutrients in yourself, if you're making the right movements on your body, and if you're taking on the oxygen that your
Hmm.
cells need, then everything else can follow much easier in your life.
Right. And it's just it's a lifestyle, y'all. Don't look at it as, oh, I gotta do it. You get to do it. You get to go out and feel good about yourself, right? It's so exciting. And you know, I got to wear my bikini in the summer. I wear it all the time to train because of my shoulders. I don't pull the tank suit up, but you know, I want to look a little bit better in that bikini. I look good. I'm just
Yeah.
saying. But knowing that I'm learning a lot and I can adjust a little bit more of my body toning because of the nutrition that I'm going to be learning, you know, that's going to help a lot. I got enough exercise set up. I've got enough training. I got enough of the ab crunches and everything else. It's just that little bit of stuff that develops in the gut when you have this particular issue to deal with.
Yeah.
And now I'm learning how to start eliminating more and more of those things that do irritate me. So I tell you what we need to do. I tell you what we need to do. We need to all cheer for Victor because he's doing so well. We need to thank Crystal for being basically an accountability partner and a coach for him, as well as their clients. Y'all, they're changing lives over there in Washington. They're changing lives, okay? And what we're doing is changing lives for y'all too. Keep logging into the podcast because the more information we can give you, the more knowledge you have to really go out and live the kind of life you want to live. It's called running your best life, y'all. It's not about just running your best race. It's about running your best life because you're running your race for your life, right, Victor? Isn't
That's
that what we do every day?
Yes, and the more tools that you get from here or tips, the better you're going to do, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what it's all about.
Yep, and don't forget to log in. Any questions, Victor always he'll go through that. We'll address anything that you have. If you need any information, remember, log in. Run Deli's on there with his information as well. Whatever y'all need. I'm working on some good motivational speeches and platforms right now. I've been asked to do a few things coming up in the near future. And one of them is really paying attention to who you are and who you want to be. And it's not just about in your senior years, it's about really starting off where you start taking care of your mind, your body, your spirit, and your soul in your younger years so that when you do have those senses of I'm hitting my senior years. I'm facing some of the lifestyle changes that everybody faces as they get a little bit older with their families and parents and siblings and everybody else and children of their own. Y'all, that's going to be one of my best things that I can offer y'all down the road too, to support the physical and training and nutrition and hydration stuff that we're offering you each day. So stay tuned to all that kind of stuff. I'll give you some snippets of that as we get a little bit closer to it because I'm putting some touches on it to do a presentation, later in March. So stay tuned.
Yes, and also stay tuned for Crystal wants to come back with us to do a
Great.
podcast, and maybe she can share more of the nutrition parts of what's
Perfect.
making the difference, and
Perfect.
it's going to be very exciting.
Yep,
Okay.
and we'll be there. So we should see you next week. Over here, it's Mardi Gras time in New Orleans and South Louisiana. Y'all people are crazy. They love the colors, they love the activity. Everything's been going really well. My city's absolutely beautiful right now, and it's getting filled with tourists and people wanting to experience what New Orleans has to offer. So if there's ever a chance that y'all get down here, y'all let me know. We've got great running around the city, running in the outskirts. I've got the bikes, I've got the pools, I've got everything you need. Just stay in touch with me. But y'all be safe. Enjoy the week. We're going to see y'all next week, right? We're going to see you next week. I hope
Yeah.
so, everybody. Y'all come tuning in.
Mhm.
My friend, I love you.
Love you. Namaste. Take care.
Have
Have a
an
great weekend.
y'all have an incredible week. Make sure you stay in tune. Share this with people you know, and tell them to get in touch with us if they need any tips, information, any kind of coaching that they might require to achieve their goals. Victor, I'll see you soon, my friend.
See you soon.
Bye bye, honey. Bye.